Hello everyone, this is Vijayasri, working as an assistant professor in the department of CSIT, MLR Institute of Technology. In this session, we are going to discuss about arrays, that is single dimensional array. Overview of the session: what is an array, why we need arrays in C, 1D array and its example. So before knowing what is an array, we have to know why we need array. So let us consider a data that I have a equal to 1. So where 1 is an integer type, so obviously the variable data type is integer. So now I want to store integer value 1, 2, 3. Is it possible to store this data in the variable a? Can we write 1, 2, 3 in a single variable, that is a? No, this is not allowed. If I want to store the data 1, 2, 3 in a variable, what can we do? We have to declare 3 variables like int a equal to 1, int b equal to 2, int c equal to 3. In that way. Or else we can first initialize a equal to 1, then again reinitialize the variable a equal to 2, and again if you want 3, again you have to reinitialize the variable a with the value or the data 3. That means at one time a variable can store only one data item. But I want to store here these 3 values. It is not possible with the normal variable. Let us suppose in my class there are 60 students. I want to store the roll numbers of all 60 students. So let us suppose the roll numbers are starting from 1, 2, 3, so on 60. Is it possible to store these entire roll numbers of 60 students in a single variable? No, single variable can hold one data item at one time. Like if I assign a with a roll number 1, a equal to 1, integer type. If I want to store roll number of a second student, then I have to reinitialize this with 2. That means a normal variable can store only a single data for one time. But I want to store the roll numbers of a 60 students. Roll numbers are all of data type, are all of same data type, that is integer. Here I consider integer data type. If I want to store all these 60 roll numbers under a single name with a normal variable, it is not possible. But I want to store these roll numbers of 60 students with a single name, then we can do that using arrays. So what is an array? An array is a group. An array represents a group of related data. An array is ordered. Data is grouped sequentially, element 0, 1, 2, so on in -1. An array is homogeneous. What is homogeneous? Homogeneous means it can store same data type. Data of same type is called homogeneous. An array is homogeneous. Every value within the array must share the same data type. If we consider here I chose a roll numbers of 60 students. All the 60 students roll numbers are of type integer. So which can share same data type. In other words, an integer array can hold integers but not other data type. Let us suppose the data types already we discussed. The data types are int, float, double, char. These are the primary data types. Like if I want to store integer type values, let us suppose 1, 2, 3, 4, these type of values, then all the values must be of same type if we are using a array. If we are going with a float type like 1.5, 2.5, 3.5, then we have to go with a float data type. Then for character, always we know that the single character must be enclosed in a double quotations and separated by a comma if we are taking a group of characters. These are type character. So an array can hold same type of values, but not other data type. You cannot choose like one value is, if I am taking array data type is int, but here I am providing the values 1, 1.5a, this is not allowed. We can go with the same values like 1, 2, 3, 5. This is allowed in array. So already we discussed why we need an array. Then what is an array? What is an array? An array is a homogeneous data type that it can share same data type, can hold only integers but not the other, if we consider an integer data type. Before we create an array, we need to decide two properties. Element type, hold. What kind of data will the array hold? Which kind of data, that means which type of value you are providing to the array. Int, double, char. Remember, we can choose only one type. As I told, array is a homogeneous. It can store multiple values of same type. So we have to choose only one type. Then array size. How many elements will the array contain? Let us suppose an array is a special type of variable used to store multiple values of same type at a time. It can store multiple values. Here I consider roll number of 5 students. Let us suppose I want to store roll numbers of 5 students. Roll numbers, consider integer type. Then the roll numbers of the students are 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. That means these are the multiple values, but all are of same type, that is integer. So array is a special type of variable used to store multiple values, but all the values of same data type. An array is a collection of similar data items stored in continuous memory locations with a single name. How these values are stored in a memory? Let us suppose, consider this is a memory segment. In this way we have memory segment. So here I consider roll numbers of 5 students. I have provided the values, those are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of same type. How these values are storing in a memory locations? It is telling that array is a collection of similar data items. So here I have similar data items stored in a continuous memory locations. So the values here I provided are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let us suppose the base address of this is 2000. If we consider the base address is nothing but a first element address is 2000. It will be stored. We know that integer data type, size of the integer data type is, let us suppose 2 bytes. 2 bytes or 4 bytes depends on the operating system which we are using. So here I consider 2 bytes. Then the next location will be 2002, 2004, 2006, 2008. In that way, the data items are stored in a memory, in a continuous memory locations. Declaration of an array. Then how to declare an array? How to declare a normal variable? If I want to declare an integer type variable, then the variable name, the type of the integer is int. So this is the syntax of this is data type, and A is the variable name. So the purpose of this variable is it can store only a single value at a time. Then how to declare a array variable? So the array name, here I am considering the name of the array is array name itself. Which type of value you want to store in this array? Let us suppose I want to store integer type. Then int, how many values you want to store? Now I want to store roll numbers of 5 students. Then how many, what is the size of this array? How many values I want to store? 5 values. So the size of the array is 5. So what is the syntax? Where int is the data type. Then here I consider this as the name of the array. Then array name. How many data items you want to store? How many elements we want to store? Those are 5. That is called as size. How can we identify this array? By the subscript. This is a normal variable where we don't have a subscript. If we provide a subscript, we have to, that becomes our array variable. So declaration of an array is data type, array name, size. If it is a single dimensional array, we are having only a one subscript. Then in the above memory allocation, all the 3 memory locations have a common name A. Here we have this. In this three memory locations, the 3 memory locations are these, have a common name called A. So accessing individual memory locations is not possible directly. Hence, compiler not only allocates memory but also assigns a numerical reference value to the individual memory locations of an array. It gives or it refers numerical, it assigns a numerical reference value to the individual memory locations. Now how to declare an array? As we discussed earlier, declaration of array is data type, array name, data type, array name. How can we identify it as an array? By the subscript. Then here we have to provide size of the array. Suppose it is 5. Then how in a memory location? How the 5 values are assigned? So this is the memory. Here we have 5. Let us suppose the 5 values are 1, 11, 12, 13, 14 and 15. So this is a syntax. Let us take one example. Data type is int, array name is A, array name is A, and size of the array is 5. So that means this array can hold 5 data items of type integer. It can hold 5 data items of type integer. So here we have an array. The values I have provided here 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So memory allocates the memory but also assigns a numerical reference. Numerical references are called index, or the index is always the index of an array starts with 0 and ends with n-1. Index, array index is always starts with 0 and ends with n-1. So here we have 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Because the size of the array is 5, 5 minus 1, it is 4. So this becomes the numerical reference of the value. Then how to access the elements? Types of arrays. Arrays can be classified based on how data items will be arranged. Arrays are classified into 3 types. Those are 1D array, one-dimensional array or a single dimensional array, then 2D array or two-dimensional array, then multi-dimensional array. Array can be classified based on how data items will be arranged. Arrays are classified into 3 categories. Those are 1D array, which is also called as single dimensional array, 2D array and multi-dimensional array. So what is 1D array? In C programming language, single dimensional arrays are used to store list of values of same type. As we already discussed, array is used to store multiple values of same type. In other words, single dimensional array used to store a row of values. It can store only a row of values. Only a row of values. In single dimensional array, data is stored in a linear form. Linear form means continuous form. Continuous memory locations we have. Single dimensional array is also known as one dimensional array, linear array, or simply we can say it is a 1D array. So one dimensional array is a linear consisting of related similar data. In memory, all data items are stored in a continuous memory locations. As we discussed, here I consider roll number of 5 students. So this can store the roll numbers of 5 students in a linear form. That means in a row of values. Declaration of a single dimensional array, that is data type, array name, size. Only we have single dimensions. The syntax of array is data type, array underscore name. How can we identify it as a single? If we have only one subscript. Here we will mention the size of the array. That means how many data items you want to store. Let us suppose int array name is roll number, then size is 60. So when we declare this, that means this is an array. How can we identify? Here we have a subscript. It can hold 60 data items of integer type. 60 data items, those are the roll numbers and all are of type integer. So here we have single dimension means it can store row values 0 to, as I told you, the index always starts with 0 and ends with n-1. So it can store roll numbers. The array name is roll number from 0 to 59. So the above declaration of single dimensional array reserves 60 continuous memory locations. Here we have 60 continuous memory locations, that is from 0 to n-1, that is 59. Let us consider this is of 2 bytes because as I told you earlier, integer data type is of 2 or 4, depends on the operating system. Let us consider it is of 2 bytes. Each data item is of 2 bytes. Let us suppose this is of 1000. Base address of the first data item is 1000. Then the next is 1002, 1004, 1006, 1008 in such a way. Because each integer can take 2 bytes of memory and all are stored in a continuous memory locations in an array. So how to access the elements of an array? So now consider one example, int. How to declare array? Data type, array name, size. So here data type is integer, then the array name is a, size of the array is 5. How to initialize the array? Here this is the declaration. How to initialize the array? Initialization are of 2 types, compile time and run time. How to declare an array? Data type, array name, size of the array. Then how to initialize, how to provide the values of the array. When you declare this, you can understand that this is the array name which is holding 5 data items or 5 elements which is of type integer. That means we can provide only integer values. So here I am initializing the values. Those are 11, 12, 13, 14 and 15. So this is called the compile time initialization. So because here only I am providing the values where I declare the array. That comes the compile time initialization. When we visualize this in the memory layout, I told you that in a memory, always single dimensional array stores values in a row form. That means a linear. So here those are 5. The array name of this is A, which can store 5 elements. Those are 11, 12, 13, 14 and 15. Array index is always starts with 0 and ends with n minus 1. So it is 4. So if I want to access or retrieve the value which is stored, the value 13, if I want to access or print the value 13 on a console window, can we directly print that? No. So what we can do? Where the 13 is stored actually? The 13 is stored in the array A, and which index? That is of 2. 13 is stored in the location, in the memory location A of 2. So if I want to print this, then go with the printf statement. This 13 is data type integer, so format specifier is %d. Where it is stored? It is stored in array A, in which location? That is of 2. Now it can print 13. If we, in this way, we can access the values which are stored in the array. Then what is runtime initialization? Runtime initialization means we are not providing the values here itself, we are giving the values in the console window. By using a scanf function, we read the inputs which are provided by the user. So how to declare an array? As we discussed, to declare an array, we need a data type, array name, array underscore name. Then if it is a single dimension, we have a one subscript. Here we'll mention size of the array. So here I declared, always the execution starts from main. Here I declared an array, that is int, data type is int, array name is A, and size of the array is 50. That means this array can store 50 data items of integer type. Printf enter number of elements. I don't want 50 data items, I want only 5. So here I want to store 5 data items. So here I gave 5. Then 5. So the array name is A. Always array index starts with 0, 1, 2, 3 and ends with n minus 1. So to store these indexes, these are also numerical references, numerical values. For that here I consider one more variable called I. So for I equal to 0, because I is initialized with 0, why? Because array index starts with 0. For I equal to 0, I less than 5. Here I consider only 5 data items. So I less than 5, I plus plus. So what is I value? 0. 0 less than 5, condition is true. Then let us suppose here I gave the values are 11. 5 values are 11, 12, 13, 14 and 15. These are the data items which I want to store and I want to access or retrieve the elements which are stored in different locations. Then 0, 0 less than 5, condition is true. Then scanf %d. Here why we used %d? Because the array is declared of data type integer. Integer data type format specifier is %d. %d address of A of I. Address of A of I. Let us suppose address is address of A of I, where I value is 0. So in A of 0, here we have A, in A of 0, I want to store the value is 11. But still we are true in a for loop. Control comes out of the loop when the condition is false. Again I plus plus, now I becomes 1, 1 less than 5, condition is true. Then the next data item or the next element, that is 12, it has to be stored where? In address of A of, where I is 1. Here we have A of 1. So here we are storing 12. Again I plus plus, now I becomes 2, 2 less than 5, condition is true. Then where we have to store? In the memory location in address of A of I, where I value is 2. There 13. Again I plus plus, now I becomes 3, 3 less than 5, condition is true. Then we have to read the value and store, that is 14, read the value and store where? In A of I, where I is 30, A of 3. Here we have A of 3, so here we have 14. Again I plus plus, now I becomes 4, 4 less than 5, condition is true. Then the next data, that is 15, we have to read and store where? In the memory location address of A of I, where A of I is A of 4. A of 4, that is 15. Again I plus plus, now I becomes 5, is 5 less than 5? No, the condition is false. So the control comes out of the loop. Then we have a printf, the entered elements are. So now I want to access now I want to print the values which I have stored in the memory. So then for I equal to 0, I value is initialized with 0, 0 less than 5, condition is true. Then I want to print. What is that value? So here in the console window already we have a printf statement, that is the entered elements are. It will get printed like this, the statement. Then 0 less than 5, condition true. So you have to print. Which type of value we are printing? We are printing a integer value. So the format specifier is %d. Then A of I. A of I is A of 0. In A of 0 we have 11. So we have retrieved that value. Again I plus plus, now I becomes 1. 1 less than 5, condition is true. Then we are printing integer type, so it is %d, where it is in A of I, that is I value is 1, in A of 1. In A of 1 we have 12, it will get printed. Again I plus plus, now I becomes 2, 2 less than 5, condition is true. Then printf %d A of I, where A of I value is A of 2, that is 13. Again I incremented, I value is modified to 3, 3 less than 5, condition is true. Then printf A of I, that is A of 3, in A of 3, we have 14. Again I gets incremented and I value becomes 4, 4 less than 5, condition true. Then we have to print the value which is stored in A of I, that is A of 4. In A of 4 we have 15. So in that way we'll read the values in one dimensional array and we access. So in this session we discussed about single dimensional array. In the next session we'll see 2D arrays. Thank you.